This conference will now be recorded.
Have a motion by Councilman Corn and second by Councilman Opresa. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Okay, next on the second item, regular items, we have consideration and approval of the lease on building 500 of the years and the parking lot and the grounds of the at the Air Center, building 500, the United States State Department. Motion, yes. Christopher, would you like to announce this? Because the other people haven't seen this.
So this lease is for the ALIA, the International Law Enforcement Academy. It is an academy that teaches foreign diplomats, security measures, drug measures, criminal justice things. So eventually what happened is in 2005, 2008, the State Department built a building, spent $5 million in the construction of that building. They transferred it over to the city. Essentially, the city amortized it out without any rents being paid. When last year they started looking at, they needed to do diplomatic security fencing and enforcement. So then they realized that there's some other systems that need to be replaced. The HVAC, the life safety stuff needs to be brought up to current code. And what we began negotiating a lease amount. So they sent a team out and evaluated the southwestern area for fair market value for Class A space. They submitted that, and then they asked for a fully operational service. So we come up to $1,850 for providing the full service gamut, as you will. And with that, what's happening is that we've got to bring some of the systems up to date. With that, the State Department's agreed to advance the first year's payment of $453,000. And then after that, they will do $18.50 a square foot. And then we just decided, talked about the 3% CPI coming into effect as well. We've done assessments for as far as we can go for the HVAC because we need a lease signed before we can get the engineering done. They need the lease signed before they can start scheduling their 2023 classes and the scheduling on the fencing for their diplomatic security measures. So we've done evaluations on it. The HVAC system, with the HVAC system, the required lighting and everything to bring the life safety up, it should not meet the 453. We're still out on zoning and HVAC. That's going to be the most expensive part. And we'll be able to have a more accurate number on that once we get it done. But our calculations show even if we did run over the 453,000, we would recoup all the costs in the second year with the rent. And I'll stand for questions.
Okay, do we have any questions? See, Councilman Perry, you had some in the legal meeting. Would you like to address those now?
Thank you for allowing me to speak, Mr. Mayor.
You froze in times.
Froze.
Yeah, that's why he's not hot.
Yeah, I just had a couple of questions. This definitely, of course, and I recognize anytime you're dealing with I have questions. Just want to make sure that staff is able to ensure to us that, to start with, I guess, everything that they're requiring in here, the floor covering, the shell, the floor load, wall finishes, you know, the thermal acoustic, the HVAC, the radon testing, all of these things, we're not concerned about any of that. We believe that the building is up to the standards that they're requiring us to have it at, or are we going to be investing a lot of money to bring it up to this standard?
The money that we'll be doing in investments, the radon testing and all that, that's because of the maintenance, where the maintenance person will have assigned to that. That's not going to be an issue. Actually, it justifies a full-time FTE. So no, we don't expect that to be any significant cost. The biggest cost is going to be, like, again, the HVAC and tying that in. And like I said, if it does run over the 453, it's almost impossible for us not to be able to recoup it in year two.
Okay. My other question would be then, Steve, would be, and I guess it's in addendum E, I believe, please forgive me if I'm incorrect, but it's either on page, I don't know how y'all's pages look, 55 or 59, depending on how you look at your pages. Janitorial services on number 6. And the requirement for all the janitorial services for the building to be done by us, also the grounds crew, maintenance, that kind of stuff. But other concerns in here, all janitorial services are subject to tenant approved escorts at all times unless otherwise approved in writing by the tenant, daytime cleaning required, et cetera, et cetera. But then it goes on to say the U.S. Department of State diplomatic security clearance of public trust, secret, top secret will be required. A minimum public trust will be required. So we're going to be taking over all of the janitorial services and lawn care services for the facility. And also, if so, are we going to have to get these, what kind of rate are we going to be looking at for these things? It looks like they have to have extra clearance to be able to do so.
That's permanent. We are taking over all the janitorial, the maintenance and the groundskeeping. What the State Department's agreed to is that we're going to run the SIDA on the people that are going to be inside the building. They'll be badged. ILEA will badge them as well, so they'll have an ILEA badge when they're in the building, but they're going to accept the SIDA. Now they'll take our SIDA, which is we run the RAD back, and then they'll run it in their international system. But yeah, they're going to run that to issue them the ILEA badge.
And we feel confident that, and I recognize where we're going from a zero to what we're requiring for this rent here, and I understand from the discussion in the legal committee of the CPI and all, but we feel very comfortable that the number that we have, that we're going to have enough to not only provide these services, but also be able to handle any kind of malfunctions of all this other equipment that they're requiring for us to upkeep as well.
That's affirmative. And also we're with our preliminary estimates, I mean, we're not going to know until we actually do it, but there is going to be a surplus that the Air Center can use to invest in other parts of the Air Center. So we just don't know what that level is, but there will be a surplus that can go and help offset costs and other things. The goal of this is just like the whole thing is that the Air Center is trying to get self-sustaining. The only way we're going to be able to get self-sustaining is to raise the fees and the rent. So this allows us to offer a different option than what we're offering the other entities, so that we can show that the Air Center has the ability to become self-sustaining. One of the issues that we have is the FAA, through its credit assurances, requires that the reason they did the indentures and turned the base over is that the Air Center is supposed to be self-sustaining. This shows that recently the FAA has been asking questions on why aren't you sustainable, whatever. This helps us go to the step to show the FAA that we have the ability to become self-sustaining and we have the ability to move the Air Center forward for the community.
Mr. Mayor, Councilor, really quickly, ILEA did an inspection of the building and we've done an inspection of the building. We're very comfortable with what we believe is over there, what the life expectancy is and everything. So I believe that after we had talked earlier today, I'd spoken with Mr. Christopher as well too. And we believe that in a normal year, our cost being covered within that rent will be very functional, and we'll have money left over to put into the pot in order to take care of any future needs of that building. It's just that starting out from where we're at moving forward, that's the challenge we have. So I got very comfortable after talking with Mr. Christopher about what had been in the background in order to try to figure out what we're doing with this.
Good thing. And just for the public's notice, I would note that Councilor Moore joined the meeting about 5:10. It's now 5:17. And that's when I noticed her up there. So just so for the record, should reflect that. Yes, Councilman Foster.
Thank you, Mayor. One of the things that concerns me, and I understand this is a time, we're trying to get it timely done by July 1st so that they have something, but I hate agreeing to anything, a blank page that's going to be inserted later. I mean, Do we have any knowledge of what this
What is it?
attachment for G,
What's the heading of that?
attachment G?
I mean, the verbiage, landlords what?
It says landlord's base operating costs.
I get that. That's a required form for all federal contracts. So what's happening is that we can't fill it out if we don't have any prior experience to that. So right now, what's happened is it's called the GSA 1217. So it's just basically a form where we have to put in like what our utilities costs, what the water costs, all the operational costs, and it's a federal requirement. So
Well, I understand that and it helps me better to vote for it, but even a blank paper with it being not filled out, but it showing me what it's going to be instead of accepting a blank page.
And that's the other thing is we still have to bring the addendum. And what I'm trying to do is do this so that when we have all the costs associated, we have to come and get council approval because it's going to be over 60,000. My goal is to get everything done so that we come with you with an addendum only at one meeting. So we have to come and bring every little thing. So by that, we can have the GSA form.
Mr. Mayor, Counselor, what the legal committee just did with the amendment of the 1850 plus the 3% annual actually takes care of the problems with area G. Yeah, because if this G becomes now more of an administrative tool for budgeting and everything, it has less impact on the contractual terms of this. When we had it built the other way, it had more of an impact on the contractual terms. But the changes that we made with the 3% increase every year actually makes that more of an administrative tool.
I think, Councilor Perry, I don't know whether your question really got an answer that you were asking. But here's what, when you break this thing down, it's $9 for rent. That's pure rent. That shouldn't go for anything but pure rent. And that is $220,000 a year first year out. $950, which is the operating cost, which should take care of what you were asking about earlier. That's $225,000. I don't think you got an answer to your question as to can we operate that building for $225,000? Is that not what your question was, Councilor Perry?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's my question. I just want to ensure that we're going to be able to operate for what we are charging and still be able to do these things that are being required.
For 225. We know first year we're not, but I think second year out, it
Correct.
should be 225 plus 103% of that. Can we operate so that we're really throwing into the pot out there at the airport the true rent number of $220,000 a year? That's what should be going into the pot, minimum. That I think
And
is
Mr. Chairman, and Mr. Mayor, I think that that's exactly what I'm asking. I just don't want our constituents. I think this is a wonderful program. I love having them here in our community. I don't want our constituents in the end to have to be paying for these things. I want our constituents benefiting from these things.
I have to, Mr. Mayor, I agree with you, Councilor Perry, but we're also going to start seeing some larger tax revenues that are going to come into this community. I can't remember how many nights that they're going to purchase, what the gross receipts tax are going to be for us inclusive.
It's a lot.
I understand it, and I agree with you that we should not force the citizens of this community to get inside and pay for the operating expenses for that. But I think we're going to have a lot of offsets or additional income associated with this lease agreement. But I think the real question is do we operate it for $225,000 a year from year 2 on out? That's what we've got to hold the airport administration out there, that they've got to do that. They've got to find a way to operate inside that budget so that the $220,000 comes back to them for other projects. And they're saying yes, Councilor Perry.
And we're saying yes.
And I don't know, Councilman Perry, if you were there while Mr. Christopher was talking earlier, but if you weren't on yet, but he was talking about the air conditioning and the air conditioning should be a large savings on the air conditioning and lighting, which should help pay an awful lot for the reduction of cost when they upgrade all the lighting, which is all what we're losing, what we're paying for in renovation. And they're going to be able to zone, the air conditioning will allow them to zone the building so you're not heating the whole thing. You're just heating the part where people are.
Okay.
And when they're there.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate y'all taking the time to clarify those things.
Okay, any further questions? Is there any on the public that would care to say anything on any of this?
Motion.
Okay, the chair would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the lease with, for building 500 parking lot grounds at the Air Center to the State Department.
As amended.
As
Amended, yeah.
Yes.
have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Horn, seconded by Councilman Arnold. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Corn,
Yes.
Counselor Arnold,
Yes.
Counselor Oropesa,
Yes.
Counselor Cornvest,
Yes.
Counselor Perry,
Aye.
Counselor Moore,
Yes.
You- Okay.
Counselor Hildenbrand,
Yes.
Counselor Foster,
Yes.
Counselor Sanchez, Counselor Halverson,
Yes.
motion passes 9-1.
Mr.
Okay.
Mayor, may I ask one question?
Yes.
I'm sorry, just for clarification, I know in the signatures, it is different than what we usually do. Just want to ensure that we will include a place for the city seal and the signature of clerk as well.
That'll be fine, I'm sure. Okay, next we have item 3 on the agenda. This is for the authorize the city secretary to utilize the second of two 5-year renewal options. Second addendum for the lease dated March 8th, 2012 for building 524, which is 69 Gale Harris Street. It's approximately 18,830 square feet. Okay, Christopher. Oh, go ahead.
So yes, this is the last option renewal for the lease for the Sidney Goodyear School with the CPI of the 8.6% interest. So like I said, this will be the last 5-year agreement, and then we'll be negotiating a new lease with the year 4, we'll begin negotiations. I'll stand for questions.
Okay, you all, Mr. Andres, you care to say anything on behalf of the school, what all you've done to tell individuals? I guess they've seen it. Any comments you'd like to say?
We're happy to be a tenant. We've been a tenant throughout the 20 years of our existence. So we started building 1,000, I believe, number 4 Challenger. And then building 524 became available. We took that on. We've made significant improvements to the property. We placed an elementary school on the property. We've added probably about $1.5 million value of the property with buildings and infrastructure. We just found out that we have funding available for the upgrades to the HVAC system. We're more than happy to do that. I know there were some timing issues. We answered to the PED, and they're just an entity of themselves. And so in lieu of that, we're happy to be still a tenant of that building. We love that building. Our kids benefit from it. And we'd like to continue to be a tenant of building 524.
Now there's, they've also added, you've seen the other classrooms, they now go K to 8 instead of 6 to 8. So, and they're working on that lease, and they put about $2 million into the building and playground equipment and things. I would have one question on this, and that is just whether or not it would be better if, for the city's sake, if they paid the city the money for the air conditioner that they have and have the city pay it, then the warranties and everything would stay with the city's building. If that might be for for you all. I don't know, rather than have them do it and have it with if their lease runs out or something.
Mr. Mayor, we'll work with the school and find the best possible that works for all of us. We definitely do not want to jeopardize any type of a warranty on that process, so.
Okay. Any further comments?
You're the chief. Move it.
Any comments?
I just won't. My wife works for, yeah, so I can vote on it, but I'm not gonna.
You're not going to make the motion.
I just want to.
You're asking for a motion.
Yes, I'd ask for a
I'd like
motion.
to,
Okay, we have Counselor Moore.
I'd like to make the comment and then I'll make the motion if that's okay.
That's fine.
I am, as an employee of the RSD, well, I don't know if that would be right either. As an employee of the RSD, I just wanted to say that I think that Sidney Gutierrez program is an amazing and such an asset to our RSD and to the base. They're doing a great job out there keeping the building immaculate. The kids that the level of kids that we get from that school that go to early college is just amazing, and that they just added the younger grades I think is a great thing, and it's such an asset to the city of Roswell to have Sidney Gutierrez out there. I don't have my numbers over here, so I guess somebody else can make the motion. I don't have my paper in front of me.
Go ahead, just make a motion to approve
To
the
accept it.
city's lease to building 524.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that the city, this is a meeting, so I don't have to move it forward, that the city approve the lease for the second 5-year lease for the Sidney Gutierrez at building 504 on the base.
524. Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Second by Councilman Hildebrand. Is there anyone in the public out there that would care to speak? Councilman Perry, or were you just shaking your finger?
Yes, no, I'm not shaking my finger at anyone for sure. Just one quick question, and this is just my ignorance and all it is. In the second addendum to the lease agreement, it has a word that just, if someone can just explain to me, I'm just trying to make sure we don't have something incorrect in here. Except as amended herein, the lease and addenda shall continue. The word addenda, can someone just explain that to me?
Plural of addendum.
Okay, that's what I wondered, but I've never seen it before, so I just want to make sure on that. Okay, thank you. I think this is great. I was here when we moved Sidney Gutierrez into the building, and I have to say they have done a great job with that, not just the facility, but the land around it. They've been great tenants, and I look forward to seeing them another 5 years.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Corn?
Yes.
Counselor Arnold?
Yes.
Counselor Oropesa?
Yes.
Counselor Corn Best?
Yes.
Counselor Perry?
Aye.
Counselor Moore?
Yes.
Counselor Hildenbrand?
Yes.
Counselor Foster?
Yes.
Counselor Sanchez? Counselor Halverson? Motion passes 9-1.
Okay, we have passed item 3 on today's calendar, the lease with Sidney Gutierrez School. Next, do we have any public comment? Public comment? Okay. Seeing none, this we would have.
Can I make a quick comment?
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to say thank you for all your, thank you, Mayor, for your visit during my week plus stay in the hospital. You and Counselor Perry, appreciate your prayers and your visits. And I am home for now. So thank you for your prayers.
Thank you, ma'am. We wish you Godspeed. And okay, if there's no further business come before the council, we will be adjourned. Thank you all for coming.